Welcome to the San Gorgonio Chapter Trail Talk series. My name is John St. Clair, and I am your Zoom host. And before we get into the presentation by Gary Mumaw, I'm going to go over some of the rules that we have for these Trail Talk events. First of all, everybody needs to be muted except for the speaker. And if you have questions, uh, put it in the chat section. If you look down at the bottom of your screen, you should see a little icon of a talking bubble with the word chat, and you can just send the message to everyone, and we will be monitoring those questions and relay them to our speaker, Gary. Um, and so if you write them down in the chat, then you won't forget them, and we'll make sure all questions are eventually answered. So that's how we handle that. Um, a couple of announcements. First of all, there's a new date, and I didn't get around to creating the event yet, but the San Gorgonio chapter outings program, once a year, we have training for people who want to become new outings leaders. And we have reserved a date at the San Bernardino Museum in Redlands for the classroom session. It's an all-day training session on April 11th, which is a Saturday. So any of you who might be interested in becoming an outings leader, take a look in the next couple of days on our chapter website under outings and events, and I will have that posted. Also, we have lots of outings going. And so be sure to look under outings and events for different hikes that you might be interested in. Um, and I'm going to introduce Marianne Reese to, let's see if I can, whoa, I was going to put the spotlight on both of us. It's not working. All right, I'll remove the spotlight from me. Now let's see if I can put it on her. Oh, where'd she go? Oh man, this isn't working. Okay, Marianne, just start talking and you'll go on the screen. Go ahead and tell us about next month's Trail Talk.
Right. Well, welcome everyone. Thank you all for joining us tonight. And my name is Marianne Ruiz. I use she, her pronouns. I am the outgoing chair. I've been the chair of this chapter for a long time, and I am no longer the chair, which is great. We have a new chair in Rachel Wilkin, and she is probably tied up tonight. She's been putting on our wilderness adventure course, which just started last week, and we have 30 participants in that 6-week session. Um, I am sticking around here. It's not like I'm going anywhere. I'm the conservation chair, and I'm also an outings leader. Hope to get some outings going here soon. But I wanted to talk just a little bit about our program next month. We're going to have some, again, some great photos and interesting information about our local desert, some areas in Joshua Tree and Mojave Preserve, some of our other local places, and then also talk a little bit about some threats. One particular threat to our desert water that's been around for about 30 years, and they keep coming back, and we keep fighting them. So, hope you'll join us. Moises Cisneros, who some of you who've been regulars here have likely seen on presentations, will be um, leading that one, and he's always a great host and fun to listen to. So I hope you'll sign up again for next month on the third Wednesday, the 18th at 7. Back to you, John.
Okay, so I'm going to introduce our speaker now, put the spotlight on me, and I'm going to have him be side by side. So our speaker tonight is Gary Mumaw, and his topic is Utah, the Mighty Five, and much, much more. And he's going to talk about lots of places he has visited and taken photographs in Utah parks. And Gary worked as an industrial photographer for JPL, NASA, Xerox, Lockheed Martin, and BAE Systems. He has been retired for a while now, but he continues to indulge in his love for photography, proudly embracing the title the Master of Images. Several decades ago, he took up hiking and joined the Sierra Club. Hiking and photography have taken him from Alaska, Canada, Montana, to his personal favorites, Utah and Arizona. He frequently hikes with the local San Gorgonio Sierra Club group, capturing the beauty of nature through his lens. And I met Gary in 2011 on a hike in Whitewater Preserve that Mary Ann was leading. And I was impressed with the photographs. Back then, I think he was carrying a camera with a big lens. Now I think he does most of his stuff with the iPhone because the cameras have improved so much. But we're really looking forward to learning about some of the iconic uh, Utah national parks and see photographs, but also some lesser known ones that some of us probably have not been to. So, Gary, take it away.
All right, thanks very much, John, Carla, and Marianne. I appreciate this time to share. I'm going to start getting to my presentation right away. And let's see, we got it. And we'll go to from the beginning. Okay. Utah, the Mighty Five, and so much more. I started going to Utah. My sister's here, so she remembers the first time I was there back in the 60s when my parents took me to Zion. But since then, I got into hiking about 15 years ago, and I've probably been back to Utah at least 12 times in that period, including all five parks, which I started doing back in 2018. Um, but today I want to talk about actually 12 parks. And here's the list of all the parks I'm going to be mentioning. Canyonland, Arches, Capitol Reef, Brice Canyon, and Zion. These are national parks. But we also will be visiting Monument Valley, Navajo Tribal Park, Natural Bridges National Monument, Bears Ears, Grand Staircase Escalante National Monument, and the three state parks, Gooseneck, Goblin Valley, and Snow Canyon. I will be talking mainly about one trip that I've done recently with my friends Lisa and Kathy. Excuse me, Lisa and Sally. Kathy, I did a hike back in 2018. And so we basically did a 2 week trip, and a lot of the photographs on this presentation will be from that time. But I wanted to actually add some other photographs I've taken over the years to add to it. We basically start out at Flagstaff, and you'll see this road where we have highlighted in yellow. And I went from basically from the east, and I went counterclockwise, and we ended up out St. George, which is close to the Arizona Nevada border. It's a 2,000-mile trip, and we did it in about 13 days. The first place that we hit is actually not quite entirely in Utah, the Monument Valley Tribal Park, Navajo Tribal Park. It is a park that's part of it's in Arizona, probably most of it's in Arizona, but the rest of it's in Utah. And these are my two partners, Lisa and Sally, and behind them are the three mittens. These are very famous sites. You probably have seen these in movies and TV shows. And right next door is the little visitor center. And you'll see a dirt road down below. And that road is a 17-mile dirt road that takes you through all different parts of this valley. If you call it a valley, I don't know if it's really a proper term, but that's what they call it. And we'll stop at several different locations. One place we saw these horses running around, and I'm not sure if the Navajo people are controlling them or they let them free, but they look like they were free. John Ford Point, where this you see the gentleman with the on the horse. You can actually pay to have your picture on this horse. But John Ford was a director who did movies in the 30s and 40s with John Wayne, and they did a lot of movies in this area. But they also had a little snack bar there, a little community where they were selling jewelry, and Sally got her Navajo taco, which was actually quite good. Another viewpoint that I happen to like, let's see what I have here, is called Navajo Cold Tarker Outpost. This is towards the north part, looking up towards Utah. It's one of my favorite sites, but this next one, which is called the North Window Outlook, is one of my favorite views. But you can look almost anywhere and get a great view in Monument Valley. This photograph here on the left is taken from the Golden Motel or Golden Lodge. It's actually across the way from Monument Valley Park, but you can park, and this is right out my balcony. This is what I saw. I went there with my wife a year ago. John Wayne used to hang out this place when he was here. The other photograph is Sally and myself taken at Forrest Gump Point, made famous by his movie. And Lisa took this picture, and you can say it was pretty stupid. They stayed out in the middle of the street with people going by, but you know, they say stupid is, stupid does. Mexican Hat. So we're going to move up this road, and we're going to be going to different places, not necessarily in the order that I took them in, or that we took them in. But Mexican Hat is just a nice rock formation. When I was working, they used to call me the rock photographer. So I have a lot of pictures of rock, and Utah is the place to go for that. Gooseneck is one of our first stops. And this is a state park. You can actually drive right to this point where I took this picture. And there's the San Juan River. The other cool thing about this place is you can actually camp right where I'm taking this picture. I don't know if I would feel too comfortable walking out in a dark night and you know, falling off the cliff, but you can park right here. We saw several people doing that. Right up the road is the Valley of the Gods, another area similar to Monument Valley. It is less concentrated, not as exciting, but definitely worth driving on. And the dirt road that we were on, you can see the vehicle we were in, a rented Jeep Cherokee, did just fine on that road. And just beyond that, we start climbing up to Cedar Mesa. Cedar Mesa is an area, a bluff, probably around 5,000 feet, 6,000 feet. And you have to take this, well, you don't have to, but one way you do is take the Mogi Dugway. And that was a road developed in the 50s to transport uranium. But it's a cool little ride. But if you see the actual point on your left, you'll see a mesa. That is where Lisa is looking down from Muley's Point. It's about another 5-mile drive to this place, a dirt road, but nothing too hard. And she was looking down in Gooseneck, and you can see all the way out to Monument Valley, a spectacular view. Another place we went to is Bears Ears National Monument. Now, I found out just recently, it's run by the Bureau of Land Management. It turns out it's run by 3 basic organizations: Bureau of Land Management, the Forest Service, and then a committee run by 5 tribal, how can I say it, tribal councils. And so the park was basically, or the monument was basically developed, which I believe is in 2016, at the tail end of the Obama administration. 16? Yeah. And they wanted to protect many of these Indian or Native American sites. And there are several of these. These are just 2 of them that we went to. And the first one, you just about a mile hike to get to. It's not that hard. This one is called, I have it written down here, it's called Butler's Wash. And this is not too hard to get to, but a few miles away, I took this photograph of a place called House on Fire. And I went there about a year before this trip that I just talked about. When I went there, it was in March, nobody was there. I was walking by myself. My wife at the time just stayed at the car. And finally, a volunteer came up there, and what she wanted to do, check, make sure I had the right pass to get into this place. But Bears Ears is a fairly new national monument. I wish their visitor center was open, but they're most of the time closed. But one thing I want to add, we did this trip in late October, early November, and what we had during this time was the shutdown, the government shutdown. And we were very fortunate that the state of Utah basically kept open their 5 national parks, but also kept open. They would have people working at some of the national monuments, and the state parks were open. Not everything was open. You couldn't do a lot of tours, but we were very fortunate to be able to do this trip. Otherwise, I may have not have. Up on Cedar Mesa is the Natural Bridges National Monument. This is run by the Forest Service, and basically it is an area that has several different bridges. And you may want to ask, what's the difference between a bridge and an arch? Simply, a bridge is developed by water going underneath it. Arch is done by other types of erosion, weather, wind, and ice, and some water. About a month before I did this trip, I actually did it a couple years ago, but I also did it with my group of Sally and Lisa. Sally was here a month before and doing a Sierra Club volunteer work. Unfortunate though, the shutdown came in and she could no longer continue her work, but she was able to do some of it. Here's one bridge. We took this hike to get down to it. It was quite steep, but not too difficult. Probably about a mile down there, a mile back up. When I went there with my wife the year before, it was too icy and I couldn't even make it down here. But this is what you get to see once you get down there. The next 2 pictures are 2 other bridges, and they have quite an extraordinary name. I will butcher it, so I'm not going to mention. But there are several trails that go down into this riverbed, and you can see several bridges. And we found from up above, there's actually several cliff dwellings down there, which next time I want to go visit. Once we left the Cedar Mesa, we wanted to go to Canyonland National Park. And the way there, if you're coming from the east, you actually drive through Bears Ears Indian Creek section. And I saw this particular view. I just really got excited about this view of this rock formation. But what this area is really known for is newspaper rock. Newspaper rock is a area of petroglyphs that have been done over 2,000 years. Now, they are protected now, but back in the day they were not. So we're wondering, when I was showing this picture to some other people, is that little wagon wheel, if that really was done during the time before the Europeans got there, I don't know. But it is protected now. They have a fence around it, but you can drive right up to it on your way to Canyonland. So Canyonland. Canyonland, I believe, has 4 basic districts. It's a very big park as far as national parks go. We went to 2 sections of it. And the first section was the Needles section. And the Needles section is known for its red, white pinnacles, what you can see in this picture here. We decided to get there and do this hike that I've been wanting to do it for years. I didn't know about it back in 2018, but the second time I heard about it and I wanted to do it. So we got on it, and the hike is called Chester Park Viewpoint. Chester Park Viewpoint is the main hike. There are many alternatives to it. It's about a 6-mile hike out and back, but you can extend it to twice that much. But we had time restraints, and so we just went to this section. We met some characters, some young people along the way in this little, I don't know, little slot canyon, I guess you'd call it. A lot of diverse areas. I don't think it's an extremely difficult hike, but there are a couple areas you got to walk through, some different areas that are a little difficult as far as rock formations. But this is your view. You get to the top, you're looking back now north through Canyonland, and it's a spectacular view, I think. The You can see Lisa's holding her hat. It was quite windy when we were there, but definitely, I'm so happy to be at this place. 2018, I went to the same basic location, and I went with some friends, Kathy, Terry Lynn, and Nick. And this is the first time I was at Canyonland. And so we arranged a trip very similar to the one I did last year. This trail here is called the Lost Canyon Trail. And not the whole trail is called that, but it's a multiple trails, and it's about 8 miles long. And you go up and down these different gullies, and there's some quite interesting drop-offs. So I'm not sure if it's for everybody, but I surely enjoyed it when I did back in 2018. We left the Needles part of Canyon and went north. It's about the farthest north that we went. We went to Moab. Now, Moab is a town that is quite interesting. It has quite a gathering of people that love going outdoors. We are basically hikers, and we like to do, some people like to do off-road biking, but when you go to Moab, you'll see a whole different group of people. You have the hikers, but you have a lot of off-road folks. People do off-roading, motorcycles. There's river rafting in this area, which I have not done. I assume there's quite a bit of winter sports in this whole general area. It is full of a lot of activities. They have a nice restaurants, and you can hire many outfitters that would take you to different places. But one thing that I like to mention, as you can see, Arches National Park. It is literally within a few miles of Moab. This photograph here is taken at Double Arches. There are tons of arches and arches, duh, but there's also other things. What I like about it is many of these trails are easy to get to these arches. Some are more difficult, but for people that don't want to do a lot of hiking, my wife, for instance, did this hike when we did here 2 or 3 years ago.
Gary,
Yes,
got a couple questions in the chat here.
sure, go right ahead. I
Yeah,
welcome questions.
just came up. We've got one. Carla here is asking, what type of camera are you using?
Good question. Some of my earlier pictures were done with a Nikon, an SLR. Majority of the photographs now are my iPhone 17, iPhone 16 Pro Max. It is good enough for things like this. I know I used to belong to a photo club, and we were getting into the high tech, and definitely you can do better quality pictures if you want to do murals. But for this presentation, my iPhone is just fine.
And then there was one more. Let's see. I guess not. Okay, that was it so far.
On our way out the next day, we went up to, and by the way, I encourage you to break in any time to ask me questions.
I will.
I encourage it.
Put them in the chat, people.
On the way up, we went to going north into the park. We wanted to go to this hike, but before we got there in the early morning, we had the Tower of Babel. There are a lot of rock formations like this. We are very fortunate. It was not good that we had the shutdown. I actually most of the time in Arches, you have to make time reservations to get in. Once you get in, you can be there a whole day. But they just had the entries open, so anybody could drive in. You didn't even have to pay, which I thought was not good. I have a senior pass. I wouldn't pay anyway, but I really thought that was unfortunate. But I got to see this. We drove up to a hike called the Devil's Garden Loop Trail, which is the far north part of the park as far as a road you can get to. And I hiked up 2 miles to this arch is called Landscape Arch. The ladies went beyond. I actually done the whole 8 mile loop of the Devil's Garden Loop in the past. This time I'm a little older. I reserved myself a little bit. The ladies are a little younger and stronger. They went beyond. But this is the kind of thing you need to go through. The picture on the right, you have to go up the steep hill. You see a lady up on the top looking down. And on the picture on the left, is when I went there in 2018. In fact, my friends Nick, Terry Lynn, and Kathy were leading the hike. And you see a lot of different terrain. Sometimes you have to actually do some crab walking. But if you're got the skills, I would definitely recommend this hike. It's called the Devil's Loop Garden, excuse me, Devil's Garden Loop Trail. The next day, we wanted to go to the most famous arch, the Delicate Arch in Utah, in Arches. Uh, we were told to try to go up there at either sunrise or sunset. So we went up towards up there for the sunset. And on the way, we stopped and saw these petroglyphs. Lisa really wanted to see petroglyphs, and we made our point to see some. And the thing about petroglyphs, many places have it advertised, but a lot of petroglyphs, people don't want you to go there. So it's hard to find out where some of these places are. This was long, the trail was well marked, but you can see a lot. I thought this guy was kind of interesting on the right, how he was posing in the little miniature arch that we saw on the way to Delicate Arch.
Got a couple more questions here.
Go for it.
Yep. Okay. So Jack is asking, what were the high and low temperatures on this trip?
Good question. I think we went in late October. We were probably most of the time around the 50s. It didn't get, we put on jackets, maybe it started in the 40s up into maybe the high 50s. We were very fortunate. No rain. And still be able to get a few clouds because the photographers, and just ask Sally, who I believe is watching it, got to have clouds. Just not too many. The year I've been here, this area, this location 3 times. I've never had serious weather problems. I would have preferred a little snow. I have been here when they had a little bit more snow. Um, but our trip we were unbelievably fortunate with really good weather.
So what dates were you there and what do you think is best time to be there?
I think I'll tell you the best time to be there, October. But you
Right.
don't want to go during when Utah and Arizona has its October school break. So I would say somewhere around the 15th to the 30th. We did notice on Halloween, and because we did go through, I think we ended this trip in November 5th or something like that. Around after Halloween, things started closing down. And so we saw several places we were starting seeing things closing down in the town of Escalante, which I'll mention here later.
Oh, yeah.
Springtime, October, but you get more chance of rain.
And then we have Summer asking if you give iPhone photo classes.
You know what? I learned from other people, and I learned from people learn from me. You go hiking with me, you'll get to learn. I teach people, and no, I do not do official classes, but you can do a lot of remarkable things. And you can do a lot of Googling to get a lot of information on how to take pictures. But I just learned how to use it from other photographers. When I say other photographers, my fellow hikers, including people like Mary Ann. We just hey, try this thing. Oh, wow, I didn't know you could do that. So I know my friend Sally has taught me a lot. Anyway, here we are. I'm sorry, you had any more
No,
questions?
that was it. Thanks.
Okay, here we are at the Delicate Arch. And let me see, how big is this arch? I actually wrote this down. It is 60 feet high. It's the largest freestanding arch in the park. A lot of people come here. Our sunset was not that spectacular, but I'll tell you what, we had a ball. It was a nice community of people who just sat here respectively. You have a person walk down and get their picture in the arch and then come back. We really enjoyed it. We met different people from all over the country and many people from all over the world. And I've noticed that when I've gone to places, for instance, Sedona, one of my favorite things is just hang out at a very popular place and listen to the people that are visiting for the first time. We don't have this kind of rock formations in Europe and other parts of the world. So Utah is very famous. I know a lot of Germans that go there, among other people from Europe. So that was our sunset. And the next day, we went to Canyonland National Park, the island in the sky. And when I first read about Canyonland. That's what I Island in the Sky. I didn't know about anywhere else. So this is the most famous area. This is one photograph that I did not take. I took it off the internet. It is a view from an arch called Mesa Arch, and it's a very popular spot, but you have to be there first thing in the morning, and you'll see a group of photographers every time you're there. But I wanted at least to show it to you. We did not go in the normal entry to Island in the Sky. We took back roads. And this road here that we took, and let's see if I have it written down here, Pot Ash. It's called Pot Ash Road. It goes south from Moab, and it takes you all the way to Canyonland, up towards up in the mesa. And our first stop was we saw these cars pulled over, and they were taking pictures. What the hell is going on here? Well, they were taking pictures or viewing petroglyphs, and there's one kind of up probably 30 or 40 feet. I'm not sure how they got to do it. Somebody said the river one time was rose. I don't know if that's true. This is right next to the Colorado River. We had paved road for the first part, and this is looking on the other side of the road is the Colorado River. Very calm at that day. We're very lucky. And then we came on a dirt road called Schaefer Road, and the first part of this road was quite testy. People told me you need a four-wheel drive, but I always go, I can do it. I had a four-wheel drive. The problem is we did not have high clearance. So we had some issues getting it up there. And all the other vehicles were either big trucks or Jeeps. We were the only one in an SUV, but we made it. This first picture on the left is Thelma and Louise Point. So this is where they filmed the great scene where they drive off the cliff. Colorado River. The second picture is Schaefer Road. This is at the top. So we came up this long winding road. If you can see, the pictures are showing Jeeps, and this section of the road was not that difficult. And there's quite nice views. But this is from the top. So I was just happy to make it because the karting wasn't all good, but we made it up here. Canyonland Islands on the Sky has these types of views. You basically drive along different viewpoints. There are some hikes, and I've done a few, but nothing I would call spectacular. There are some down at the edge where you can go along the rim, which I didn't do on this trip. But this is the Green River, and down below this section is the Green River and the Colorado River meet. You can also you might see the dirt road there. Canyonland does allow off-road vehicles in their area. And there are many other areas in Canyonland that you really need an off-road vehicle just to get to.
Gary, when you say off-road vehicles, do they have signs that you have to stay on the roads or
Oh, yes.
Okay, good.
Yeah, especially in the national parks.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're not, and I believe you still have to have a street legal vehicle. You just can't go in there with a side-by-side. You have to have I believe, and I'm not 100% sure on that, but they have to be street legal. Yeah, that I'm not 100% sure. When we left Moab, we were now going back down south, kind of went up north and then take a road south. Let me see, get to my next page. Highway 24. We wanted to go to an area called San Rafael Swell. I never heard of this place. Lisa brought it up to me. I said, well, okay, I'm going to look into it. And so the easiest place to get to is Goblin Valley State Park. This is an area right off the highway, just a few miles, not hard to get to, but you can go much beyond this if you have a decent four-wheel drive. There's even some slot canyons back there. So I'm going to show you a lot about Utah, but there's a lot more that I have not seen and I want to go back to. But Goblin is a nice place to stop for a few hours. They have all these little hondoos, and here's Lisa in front of them, and you can just basically walk among it. It's not much of a trail, but you just walk around in this little called Devil's Garden. Not the right, Ray? Devil's Garden? I have that right? No, Valley of the Goblin. Excuse me. Devil's Garden we're going to get to in a few minutes. This area is kind of cool. I've been told it's great to go at sunrise or sunset, and people go there to view the stars. Not a lot of nice, because there's not much around this town, this state park. Very good for night sighting. How would you say stargazing? Um, then we did a little hike. We went around this area in the backside, and we went to this place it's called Goblin's Lair. It's a little canyon or cave you go into, and Sally's here, ready with her lamp. We had to climb up to it, and she went in there. I decided not for me. She went down to the bottom, probably about 20, 30 feet, looked around, and then she came back up. But there was another one too, which we did not go to. This is something new. We didn't know this was existing. Goblin has this picture on the left when we left called the Three Sisters. So this is a nice little stop on the way down because we were now making our way to Capitol Reef, which is our next stop. Capitol Reef National Park. Of the Mighty Five, this is probably the least known and the least visited, but it's an excellent park. It's not overcrowded. There's a lot of places to go. There's a lot of off-road places to go. And when you come in, I would suggest doing this hike. It's called Hickman Bridge. It's only 2 miles, a little steep. It's still a bridge, though I didn't see any water underneath it. And I was told at one time there was a stream going through it. Beautiful little area. You can look back in different directions when you get to the top. But this is quite a large bridge. And let me see if I can tell you the size of it. 125 feet high, 132 feet wide.
This
We
was
got in. Go ahead.
about a mile and a half hike in, isn't it?
I believe so. Mile and a
Yeah.
half. Yeah, I think the round trip is only
Oh,
2.5 miles.
okay.
So
Got it.
it's a little steep, a little rocky, but it's not long. The next day, Lisa talked about this hike a little bit south into the park. We were staying Torrey, which is right outside the park. We came back into the park and we wanted to do this trail. It's called the Cassidy Arch Trail. And this is about 3.5 miles round trip. You try to gain about 700 or 800 feet to climb up to this place where Lisa's at, but she's looking out and you see that little dark hole. That is the arch. I thought it was a great hike. On the other picture, when we arrived, you can actually walk on top of the arch, and that's what Sally's doing in this picture. She's a little more daring than the rest of us, but it wasn't. I actually saw a whole group up there, so we just hanged out, had our little snack, watched people go up and down to the arch, and came back. But I would recommend this. It's something I didn't know about before. It's called the Cassidy Arch Trail. We went back to the visitor center, and as you see, we still have some fall colors. I wanted to add that. We did see more fall colors in Capitol Reef than other national parks at this time. I saw this vehicle, and we met the guy that owns it. I thought it was quite unique. He's from Switzerland. He had this vehicle shipped to Canada. He went to Alaska and then drove all the way down to Utah. I didn't get to see inside, but I bet you it was really nice because I went home and I checked this vehicle. It's close to $1 million. I mean, my house is not worth $1 million. So this is the way to go. And there were many other not so expensive off-road motorhomes, as I would call them, in this area. Okay. In this area where the Fremont River runs through, it's much greener. And here's some fall colors. And then we went to this little walkway where we could see these petroglyphs. And what I read is these are called Fremont petroglyphs, and they were developed over 600 CE to 1300 CE. So a lot of these petroglyphs you see, the legit ones, not the ones that people put in later, were done over 1,000 years ago. And I think that's quite remarkable. Though I think these guys look like aliens to me. When we left Torrey to go on these hikes on this day, I was smelling some pies or some bakery. Well, right below our hotel, they were baking pies. And so I went asked the guy who was loading them all up. He said, "Yeah, these are the pies that we sell at the Guilford House." So when you go into this area, the Fruta district, if I pronounce it right, this was an area that the Mormons developed, start farming. They built orchards around the 1880s. And so this picture of the barn on the left side is a very iconic barn. You'll see that in a lot of pictures when you look at Capitol Reef. So we moseyed around. I told the ladies I wanted to get done with our hikes so we can get one of these pies because the last time I came here, they sold out. So we got our pie, had a little ice cream, and I'm telling you, nothing like a little sweet after a good hike. We had a great time. From there, we left Capitol Reef and we were going to go towards Brice Canyon. Now there's some more quicker ways to get there, but Highway 12 is a scenic route. It's about 120 miles road that goes from Capitol Reef to Brice, and there are multiple things to see on this area. I think it's cool that this road here is carved through the rock. It's quite interesting, quite a view. Before we went, one of the first stops we made is called Bird Trail Road. It's out of a town called Boulder, and Boulder is a town about 8,000 feet. So we had to go up over Boulder and down into the further part of Highway 12. And so we took this road. I'd never been on it, just read about it. And this picture on the left, Sally has taken a picture of a long canyon, and I thought it was pretty cool. Um, the far end of this canyon is the picture that I have on the right. It's a little slot canyon, and they call it Long Canyon Slot. Well, I'll tell you, it's in Long Canyon, but it's a short little slot, but it's definitely worth visiting. It's a side trip off of Highway 12. And we got to see some fall colors. Grand Staircase Escalante National Monument. This is the largest national monument in our country's, the continuous 48 states. It was established in 1996. It is one of my favorite places that are not part of the Mighty Five. Most of the areas in this national monument, you have to go on a dirt road to get to. But Highway 12 kind of runs around the northwest part of the monument. And there are a lot of things you can see just from the highway. And the dirt roads, if they're dry, are not that difficult. A Subaru could make it. One of the first places that we stop is called Lower Calf Creek Falls. This hike is not high elevation, not high elevation gain, but it is a 6-mile round trip hike. I done it 3 times now. My wife did it with me a few years ago, and Lisa has done it before, but Sally has not. So we definitely had to go here. It's usually pretty crowded. It's one of the most popular spots in Grand Staircase. But we didn't have a lot of people. This is the photograph of it at the end. Let me see, how tall is this? This is 126 feet tall. It is north of the town of Escalante. On the way, there's things to see. We found some petroglyphs. This is pretty far away, but I took my camera and I just kind of exaggerated the size of it. Again, aliens. And then we have this turkey. We got there and there were not a lot of people. It was unusual. People come here in the summertime and go swimming in the pools. But there were probably another couple and that was it. And this turkey just started walking up to us. We're just walking around. I couldn't believe it. He was there for about 10 minutes and he looked at it, but he didn't care. We stayed in Escalante for a couple of days. I decided it was Saturday. I needed a rest. There was football games on. So I stayed at the hotel and the ladies went up to Escalante River to do a hike. I don't have pictures because I wasn't there, but a pretty nice area to hike in. They have some arches. And they also went to Upper Calf Creek Falls, which I have done back in 2018. So they were able to do two hikes. I was able to sit back and watch some football, and they came and picked me up. And we, in the afternoon, later in the afternoon, we went to this place called the Devil's Garden. Devil's Garden is off a road called Hole in the Rock Road. It is a long dirt road that goes, I believe, 55 miles into the park. And this is a road that I want to visit more because there are several different locations to see slot canyons. Um, there's one called Peekaboo in Spooky. That's the one I really want to do, but not this trip. But I'm keeping it to do it another time. But Devil's Garden is only a few miles down, and just like Goblin, you can just walk around the hoodoos. It's only about, just walk within a mile and you're right there. I want to mention these two places here. These two locations, I was here a few years before. There are a lot of what I call slot canyons slash narrows. And I don't know quite the difference, except I think a slot canyon is a lot more narrow. But the first one is called Cottonwood. It's on a dirt road. It's not real hard to get to. And the trail is only, in this area here, is only about a 4 mile hike round trip with not a lot of elevation gain. So I did this with my wife 2 years ago. The other one is Lick Wash. And this basically you can go in from the north, but you can also go down the south coming up from 89. And Lick Wash it's a great, you can go a long ways, but really the first mile is what's really exciting about. So Cottonwood, Narrows, Lick Wash, and there's several others, but I think one of the best is the place we went to called Willis Creek Slot Canyon or Narrows. And this is only about 45 minutes from Brice Canyon National Park. And there's also a state park here nearby called Kodachrome. This trail is about 5 miles on a dirt road, not too difficult. Like any roads in Utah, though, if you're wet, you really got to be careful. You can get quite hung up into the road. But Willis Canyon is a short, I don't know, 4 mile hike in and out, there and back. It's not difficult. When we were there in October, a little bit of water. I was here in 2018, a little water. A beautiful place. I'm going to show you several pictures here because they go through slots and then it opens up. You can see in the other picture where you have trees growing out and then back into a slot. Has color. I may have exaggerated a little bit on the color, especially on the left, but I liked it. I highly recommend this place. Trees growing in. We even saw horseback people going through. I'm not sure how they got into this place because it's kind of narrow at the beginning, but I think there was a side area that they got into. Not hard to climb, easy. The water's basically, a couple inches wide. Willis Canyon, my favorite.
Gary,
Yes.
are there places to camp around there or that you're aware
That is a very good question. And I'm thinking.
of?
One thing, a lot of these places in Grand Staircase, you can do what they call boondogging, which you can basically dry camp without the facilities. I'm trying to remember. Well, first of all, Kodachrome State Park is probably only 20 to 30 minutes away, and you can camp there. In fact, Lisa told me it's a very nice campground. She
It is.
enjoyed it. She's been there before.
Yeah.
Up in Escalante, there are campgrounds.
Thank
But
you.
that's a good question. I don't camp anymore too much.
Mhm.
I'll do a night or two. But that is a very good question. We stayed in motels the whole time. Okay. We arrived in Brice Canyon the next day. The photograph here on the left, I took a year or two before. It's called Sunrise Point. I went there with my wife at sunrise, and it really glows. I really thought it was a excellent point of view. You can drive along the edge of these different viewpoints. We decided to take a short trail when I say short, 4 miles. And what do we call that? Queen's Garden Loop. And that will dip you down. It starts from Sunrise, and then it'll go down Sunrise. You go down about 5, 6, 700 feet down this trail. You see a lot of different hoodoos have these cool little openings, and then you come back up to a place called Sunrise Point. And this is what I saw on the way up. This is called Wall Street. And this is a very cool, I think, very cool place. The trail is, it's a little steep. And I thought it was amazing to see trees in this little short area. I went there on this hike about 12, 13 years ago with my daughter, and there was snow on the ground, and I never had so much mud on my shoes. But the National Park Service was very nice. They had a little hose that you can wash your boots off. So we were lucky we didn't have a difficult time, but it can be, Sunrise Point is 8,100 feet. So it's quite high. Brice is the highest elevation national park in Utah. And you can actually go as far as 9,000 feet at some of the viewpoints. I've been told it's a great place to go in the winter. Okay, so I went there in the fall one time. My wife and I went to Sunrise, and it was 25 degrees. She wasn't all that happy. Zion National Park is probably the jewel of the national parks in in Utah. I've probably been there a dozen times, and every time I go, I love it. It can be crowded. They have a shuttle system that goes up the main canyon, which works out very well. You go to the visitor center, large parking lot, and you can take the shuttle. It's great. It goes up and down. Probably every 20 minutes, you have a shuttle. The one time my wife and I went there, and we were actually coming from Page, and we drove through it, and we were going to stop. There was not one parking spot at the visitor center. And so it was spring break. And so I would not go during spring break. It can be quite crowded in the summer. I would say winter, spring, and late fall are the times to go. Beautiful place, though. A year before, the ladies and I did a hike here, and this is the Virgin River. The hike is called, and hopefully I won't butcher it. It's Kayenta, Kayente, and it hugs the river, and it goes up to Emerald Pool Trail. Emerald Pool Trail actually has 3 pools, so you don't have to go to the top. There are 3 different levels. And part of the time at this place where Lisa and Sally are at, the water goes over you like a waterfall. You're going underneath the waterfall. Quite beautiful. And not extremely hard hike to get to the lower pools. But on this trip, actually we all got a permit to hike Angel's Landing. Angel's Landing is a quite high, how do I say it, quite exposed hike. First of all, you have to hike up this trail, which is called the West Rim Trail. The shuttle will drop you off. You go up here, it's paved. And then you get to this point, and then in the second picture, you'll see Walter's Wiggle, which if they carved this road in, it's totally safe. This is not the hard part. It's steep, and you take your time, because the first time I went there with them, they were way ahead of me. I said, I'll meet you up at the top. Angel's Landing has become very popular. They now require a permit, which you need to get a few days ahead of time, or is it 2 days ahead of time? The picture on the left is Angel's Landing. This is at Scout's Outlook, where the paved trail would take you to, but now you got to take the hard part of going up to Angel's Landing. You might see a little bit of some people in there. It can be quite narrow, and the drop off can be as high as 2,000 feet. I wish they would be a little more particular in who they let up there. People have fallen off. When you fall off, you're not going to live. I did it in 2018, but I was pretty scared. Luckily, I had my friend Kathy with me the whole time, and I made it up to the top. But this trip, Lisa and I decided we'll just go. You go up there, Sally. But Lisa and I, we went farther on this trail going north, and this trail, which is called again the West Rim Trail, goes all the way to the north part of the park. We only went up a couple miles. Quite a sight, very few people. So once you get past Scouts Outlook, there are a lot less people. But if you want to know what it looks like on the top of Angel's Landing, this is the picture I took in 18, looking straight down. That's the road. And there's the Virgin River. And it definitely, I took the picture and I moved back. I said, you know what, I did it. I'm not going to do it again, but I'm glad I did it. Getting towards the end here, I want to tell you about two other areas of Zion. The east part of the park, less populated. You go into the east entrance. If you go from the canyon, you actually take a 4-mile tunnel, which is kind of cool, right along the ridge of the cliff. But the east part is less populated. The picture on the right is Checkerboard Mesa, which is right at the beginning of the entry to the park. There's a little short hikes you can do around there. But the other one on the right is called Mini Pools. This is not on any map. I found about this, I think I did this hike 13, 14 years ago, and you just go up the shale rock and you see these little pools. It's only about a mile or two up. If I went back, I would have to do research to find out where you can actually park. But there are a lot of these little sections in Zion, kind of like Joshua Tree. If you know Joshua Tree, there are a lot of trails that the national park don't tell you about, but they're there. This is one of them in Zion. And the next part is I'm gonna have a hard time pronouncing this. Kolub Canyon. This is off of Highway 15 north of the park, north of St. George, just before you get to Cedar City. So you have to go out of the park, basically to St. George, and then drive back up Highway 15. And this is a small little section of the park that is right off the highway. The visitor center is literally with quarter mile from the highway. And we took a hike. This was done a year before our main trip to Taylor's Creek Trail. Now I know that John's been on this hike, so he's the one that told me about it. This ends up at an arch, but I just liked going through it and seeing this little cabin, the water. Lisa's taking a picture of the frost. It was probably on this trip, and this is the year before, probably around 30 to 35 degrees. You just bundle up. The last place I want to talk about today is right out of St. George, Snow Canyon State Park. I did not know about this. My friends Jeff and Sosan told me about it. And so I wanted to visit there. So we were here a year before the main trip, and it's a nice little park. This photograph here is a little slot canyon called Johnson Canyon, probably a 2-mile hike. The other one is called Petrified Dunes. And so they have all these little trails, 2 or 3 miles. You can combine them, and there's not a lot of people. I'm going to leave you with this photograph here. This is just looking at an overall view of some of the different spots from the park. Highly recommend. A lot of people come here when they see that Zion is overcrowded. I'm not going to say what the best time of year is, but not the summer. It can be quite warm, but it's literally 10, 15 minutes from the town of St. George. So that's my presentation. I want to thank my comrades, Lisa Sanford and Sally Santoya. They were very helpful, especially when they were involved in the picture taking. Most of the photographs I took, but they both added to some of the pictures. I was very happy. And they were a good group to be with. I also want to mention the people I went with in 2018. Kathy Viola is the person that basically taught me some of these different areas. I had known this areas in writing, not talking about arches and Canyonland. I'd never been to till I went with Kathy. And we did another 12-day trip back in 2018. Very similar trip. And if I ever get a chance to come back again, I will want to talk about my second favorite or my other favorite area, Arizona Strip. This is an area north of Grand Canyon and right hugs the Utah border. There is so much to see here and so much that I will hopefully talk about it on another time.
Well, Gary, we have a couple of comments and questions in here just at the end.
I'm going to stop sharing. Is that right to do, John?
Yeah,
Sure.
yeah, go ahead and stop share.
All right. Go ahead.
Okay, so we've got a question from Ellen. Could we take our 15-foot little trailer? And I think that was for this last, Ellen, was that for this last park?
You can do 15-foot trailer in most places. Yes.
Yes, that little campground, Dead Horse Point State Park, they were talking about going, what was it? I wrote all this down. The last campground is off to the left of the highway on the beautiful river. And I just wondered if it would fit there. I mean, if it's possible to take it there on the road. Think of the road.
Oh, this is, okay, that's in response to, so Ellen's asking about a campsite that was mentioned by,
Yeah, it was near
like,
Willis.
well,
No,
it was, yeah, mentioned by Crystal? Or
yeah, near Willis, right.
who is
Who's
that?
the
mentioned
C? Who's C?
It's a good question.
Yeah.
I know that by Willis there's the Kodachrome State Park that has pretty nice. I'm pretty sure you could take a 50.
Kodachrome. Say that slower for me, Gary.
Sure. Kodachrome State Park.
Kodachrome.
Like the old film.
Just like the old
Yeah,
film,
that's what I
you can
wondered.
access. And like I said, my friend Lisa has camped there. So
Okay.
she camps in her car, but I'm pretty sure you can put a 15-footer. And
Oh,
in a
yeah.
lot of the national parks, there are many places you can have those type of trailers.
Oh yeah, they're little. It's
Yeah,
little.
they're not very big. I
No.
think that would work. I haven't done it for myself, but I definitely seen them.
Well, it's not the trailer so much as getting there.
Yeah, no, Kodachrome
Well,
is easy to get to.
to get to Kodachrome, you would be able to do that.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
And then let's see. Yeah, we have a lot of thank yous. Thank you so much from
Wow,
a
awesome.
lot of people here, and people want to go back to Utah and planning their next trip. Thanks for the great photos. Did you need a pass to get into Monument Valley National Tribal Park?
Okay, good question. Monument Valley is run by the Navajo Nation. So
Mhm.
your senior pass or any kind of national pass will not work there. So they charge, I think it's $20. It's not a big price. I'm happy to pay it. But yes, you do need to pay to get into Monument Valley.
All right, so we've got just a lot of people appreciating all your beautiful photos.
Oh, thank you.
And what is the name of that? Oh, okay, no, that's okay. We got some more messages. Let's see. Yeah, more thank yous. And yeah, so I think we will end it there. I'll hand it back to John.
Well, thank you very much, guys. I appreciate it giving me the opportunity to share one of my favorite places in the entire world.
Oh, well,
Yeah, thank you, Gary. It was wonderful, and I'm looking forward to when you do one on the Arizona places.
mhm.
Absolutely.
All right.
Okay, I think I'm going to